Brian Levin is the director of the Center for the Study of Hate and Extremism. He joins us from San Bernardino in the U.S. state of California. Mr. Levin, it's a pleasure having you in the program. Thank you for your time.
Thank you
Firstly,
for having me.
maybe you can help us understand the agenda of a white supremacist in America in the year 2022 and the so-called Great Replacement theory.
Yes, two great questions. First of all, throughout American history, unfortunately, we had racial disparities going all the way to slavery. But since then, what we've seen at various times, the notion come up that American turf was tilting towards brown. And in particular, last decade, we saw a shift where the nation was no longer white Christian Anglo, in other words, white Christian European. And then we started to see this kind of populist politics take place, not only here, but in Europe and around the world. Unfortunately, what happened was the pandemic came smack dab at that time that we were already splintered and people were isolated online more. This person had some mental issues as well. And he went down that rabbit hole online where these stereotypes that label immigrants and brown people and Muslims, which is how it started in Europe, was labeled Muslims were who were replacing folks. In the United States, it was adapted just as it were in other places. And he got radicalized online as he spent more time as a socially isolated, troubled neo-Nazi terrorist teenager.
Brian, I remember looking at Fox News recently, and Tucker Carlson, who I'm sure you know of, he made the statement saying that you could probably fit all of the America's white supremacists in a high school stadium, which I guess is about 100,000 people, possibly. How big a problem is white supremacy in the U.S.?
Great question. If you look at questions like just a recent poll showed in excess of around 30%, feel that they're under attack or that they're being replaced. We see that in the 30 to 40% range. But it's really in the single digits and probably even low single digit percentages of those who are like the most hardened neo-Nazis. But there's strata, there's depth with regard to prejudice as well as ubiquity. And unfortunately, what happens is when you have stuff like replacement theory gets mainstream and it's anchored, it brings down the discourse and expands the number of people who are racially prejudiced. And just one quick thing, listen to this. We had increases in hate crime in 2020, according to the FBI, and our research has found in 2021 and 2022, double-digit increases in hate crime in American cities, and we had an inflection year in 2020 with regard to African Americans, both the direction of the hate crime and the depth, and it's staying up longer, elevated longer, and that's continued into this year, unfortunately, and it's culminated in this attack. We saw all the other jigsaw puzzle pieces, and now the last one, unfortunately.
Brad, before I let you go, U.S. media is attributing some blame of what happened in Buffalo to right-wing media for pushing the idea that white people are intentionally being replaced by, quote-unquote, desperate people from the third world, as one commentator put it. How is Washington going to address this issue of white supremacy through legislature? I mean, can it even be done?
Well, we can. I was just talking to folks today, and I was invited to Washington. We're going to get the word out. We have to make hate crime reporting mandatory by police, tie the funding to it. And we also have to expand to non-carceral kinds of preventative responses. In this example and other ones, there were warnings. South Carolina, Texas, and now here. There were warnings and loopholes that were missed. We have to tighten them up and have greater interactions with community and government that aren't just law enforcement based, but make sure when there is a crime that it is responded to. And unfortunately, in large swaths of the country here in the United States, it is not. But big double-digit increases, 3 years in a row, we have to do something.
We'll have to leave it there. Brian Levin there for us from California. Thank you for that. We appreciate it.
Thank you as always.